In sports, the scoreboard doesn't tell the full story, but Netflix does. Stories about dads who happen to be world-class quarterbacks and a battle for the heart, soul, and direction of the multi-billion-dollar business of F1. Whether you're a diehard fan or you're brand new, Netflix has the stories for every type of fan. You can watch these incredible sports stories like Quarterback, F1 Drive to Survive, Untold, and many more now on Netflix.
Apple Card is the credit card created by Apple. You earn 3% daily cash back up front when you use it to buy a new iPhone 15, AirPods, or any products at Apple. And you can automatically grow your daily cash at 4.15% annual percentage yield when you open a high-yield savings account. Apply for Apple Card in the Wallet app on iPhone. Apple Card subject to credit approval. Savings is available to Apple Card owners subject to eligibility. Savings accounts by Goldman Sachs Bank USA, member FDIC. Terms apply.
This episode is brought to you by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Some things are just better together, like party playlists and Friday nights, campfires and ghost stories, peanut butter and chocolate. And Reese's Cups are the perfect combination of creamy peanut butter and delicious milk chocolate. So, when you want something sweet, you can't do better than Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. Buy Reese's today wherever candy is sold.
Hey gang, just wanted to let you know that you can now get a free 14-day trial of our Chronicles Tifosi Patreon membership.
Subscribe now for free for 14 days to get access to all of our full episodes, solo minisodes, bonus content, even behind the scene bonuses like our chats about football, and of course our chats about life in general. You can also get the entire back catalogue of Serie A Chronicles content.
So head over to serieachronicles.com/Patreon and subscribe to the Chronicles Tifosi membership for free.
Serie A Chronicles is a Media Chronicles production.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the Serie A Chronicles podcast. That's right, I'm recording the podcast, even though some of you may have spotted I'm currently in Phoenix, Arizona. This is Nicky. I have with me Mina Rzouki. Mina, did you stay up to watch the Super Bowl?
Any excuse to stay up, Nicky. It's like my usual bedtime anyway. I'm a bat.
That's true. You never sleep.
No, I'm the vampire. I mean, sometimes I get really embarrassed when I don't know, my neighbor will be like, I don't know, did you not see that at 9 a.m.? And I'll be like, no. How am I supposed to tell him that I sleep at 4 and I wake up at 10? Do you know what I mean? But those are my hours, unfortunately. You know?
So you were well prepared to speculate about whether or not Rihanna's pregnant.
Oh, I spent the whole time. Nicky, I'm going to tell you guys a real life story. I really wanted a coffee yesterday, but I didn't have any milk, right? And so I thought, God, I should really just go to Tesco because Tesco is literally the end of the road. Yeah. And I thought, I'm just so tired. I just couldn't fathom the energy to get up. I was so tired. And then I see Rihanna performing on stage when pregnant. And I'm like, how do people do this? I don't understand. She just made me feel really crappy about myself, you know? When I'm like, God, I can't even get up and make myself a coffee. I was actually contemplating how much it would cost if I hired someone to do this stuff for me. I think I was born to be rich, and it's just not going that way, Nicky, so it's really upsetting me.
I feel like we're just going to share our lows now, Mina. We're going to share our lows. I've been in a situation similar to that before when I've been at home, and for me it's tea, but I really need milk for my tea, and I didn't want to have to go out and deal with it. And I literally remembered that with the McDonald's breakfast, you can get a milk. So if I order something from McDonald's, just some hash browns and some milk, I did. So I didn't have to go out.
Why didn't I think of that? Nicky, just tell me about the game. How was the game? Was it the best game of your life?
It was good. It was really funny, Mina, actually, because, we do this podcast and we talk about Serie A, and I obviously write my column for Guardian Serie A, and we do other shows on Serie A, and I do most of my work at Serie A. But I used to do a regular weekly column for the Guardian on the NFL, and I used to cover the Super Bowl every year. And I was really surprised when I was there and started tweeting about it. People going didn't know you were interested in NFL. I was like, really? Is that a thing that's been forgotten, that I do NFL sometimes? And maybe I've forgotten a bit what it's like to do NFL, but it's Super Bowl week is so crazy. Like it's such a wacky experience because it's so unlike anything that you'll see or experience in European sports reporting. The way the American media handle access to athletes, access to coaches, access to teams is so radically different. And Super Bowl is just like the extreme example of it, because right from Monday through to the end of the week, well, through to Thursday, you have every day hour-long media sessions with both teams where every player has to be available and the coaches have to be available. And so you get this sort of extraordinary media availabilities with extraordinary like numbers of media there. And because it's a Super Bowl, you got media from all over the world. And it's like part press conference, and it always feels like it's part reality show because it's America. And, you know, this year there was some sort of sideshow stuff going on, really fun stuff going on, because I don't know if you knew about this, but there was two brothers playing in the Super Bowl. There was Jason Kelce for the Eagles and Travis Kelce for the Chiefs. And their mum, Donna, was in town all week. And so she was like the star of Super Bowl week with her half and half jackets, like with both players' colors in and like all of that stuff. I don't know. It was so fun to be around actually for the first time for me since the pandemic, and just sort of remember how energetic a Super Bowl is. Like it's very buzzy and it's very, I don't know. It's one of those events that makes you feel excited to be there. And then it was a great game. So yeah, it was a privilege as always to cover it. I had horrible jet lag the first few days when I got here. I think I'm getting much, much worse at this as I get older, long distance travel. And I had an eventful Sunday, not all of which I'm willing to share with the audience. But one part of it was that my very good friend, Erin, who I'm staying with when I'm out here, gave birth to her first baby. And so that was all going on at the same time as it was like, oh, Erin, bye, I'm off to Super Bowl. But yeah, so I'm so happy for her and for her husband, James, who's also a friend. And I'm just so happy that I get to be here. What a treat. I get to be here on top of being here for work to see two of my best friends have their first baby together.
Oh, Nicky, you make things so nice. I thought you were going to talk about the fact that the Eagles were robbed, about all the stuff that happened, about Philadelphia setting fire to their city, you know. There's a part of me that just did kind of think, was it like a hold? Did the Eagles get robbed?
Well, you know, I was sat next to a journalist who I know for a long time, lovely journalist, and he's a big fan of the Eagles. And you know, afterwards, I definitely got like the full, like we were once we'd sort of done filing our copy and had finished writing, I got the full like this was an injustice version from him. And honestly, like watching it in real time, I thought it looked like a soft call. And when I first then saw the replay, I thought, yeah, no, that is a soft call. Because it's a play that decides the Super Bowl, right? Like
yeah,
if
exactly.
that doesn't happen, then the Chiefs either kick a field goal, in which case the Eagles can go and win the game, or they have to take a risky play to try and get the first down. And so to me, it looks soft. But then Bradbury, the defender who was flagged for the hold, he did say in his post-game interviews, yeah, I did hold, and I was hoping they wouldn't call it, basically. And there's always a lot of that in the NFL. It's interesting. I don't know if there's a good overlap in rules with football, with soccer, as they call it here. I don't know if there's a good overlap of like rules that like everyone breaks all the time, and that it's just like whether or not you push it too far and whether or not the referees give it. Like, because the NFL is full of rules like that, rules that everyone knows are rules that everyone knows get broken. Like 80% of plays, someone's breaking that rule, but it's kind of allowed as long as they don't overdo it, like as long as it's not ridiculous. I suppose it's a bit like, it is actually a bit like at a corner, isn't it? Or a free kick when the ball's coming into the box and you know that everyone's got hands on each other, right? Like, you know, the defender's grabbing the attacker. It's just like, where's the line between grabbing them a bit and getting penalized for holding them or shoving them? I guess it's a bit like that, really.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, I mean, the fact that kudos to him for coming out to say that. I was on the side of Chiefs anyway, but I did feel sorry for them in that moment. And I really like their coach, Nick Sirianni. You know, anything that's sort of Italian American, you know.
I feel like producer Simon's about to, you know, tell us we have to start talking about football, which we should. But I did kind of want to ask you, when he cried before kickoff, what was your reaction to that? Because I have to admit, when I saw him crying before kickoff, my first thought was, that's not someone who wins the Super Bowl. Like, you have to be calm. Like, you can't let your emotions be like on top of you. Like, you have to be calm. You're the one who's setting the example.
I know, but it's his first big job, right? It's a big moment. It's the Super Bowl and against the guy that let you go as well. I mean, Andy Reid had his reasons for it, and I get that, but like I'm not going to date a guy that cries, right? We all know that. Like, I'm the Wicked Witch, right? Like, joking, guys. But yeah, I guess it's his first. It's his first. Yeah, I'm sure he's devastated. But I'm sure it's a big moment. I'm just saying, like, if I'm in charge of it, I don't know if I'd be Mourinho-esque or I'd be like this blubbering wimp on the sidelines being like, I can't believe I made it to the Super Bowl.
I mean, look, I'm an Arsenal fan. I don't mind an emotional manager. Mikel Arteta's all right with me. So I suppose I'm being hypocritical as well. Guys, everyone listening, I'm sorry for all that not Serie A chat, but I should let you know that if you are enjoying what you hear, we do sometimes witter on about things that aren't football. We have a 14-day free trial available right now for our Chronicles Tifosi Patreon membership. Head over to serieachronicles.com/Patreon and subscribe there for free. A free 14-day trial you can get right now. Thank you also to everyone for all the great feedback we've had, especially in the last week. Some really lovely messages in the last week, which Mina did a little mini-sode, reading some of them out and responding to them, which was so cool to have you guys sharing. Yeah, your experiences. We were asking about your experiences of like how you chose the clubs you support and like how you came to those and that sort of shared experience that a lot of people have of being not from a place but supporting a team. And we loved it. We'd love to hear more of them. So keep those coming if you have been thinking about it, haven't sent them yet already. Mina, I obviously was at the Super Bowl. I did share a picture of myself watching the Napoli-Cremonese game from the stadium before kickoff. So I was doing my best to watch everything, but I probably didn't see quite as much as I would on a normal week. I don't know exactly where the right place to start is, but a part of me wants to just jump to Juventus only because we've just been talking about Nick Sirianni and ridiculous emotion, or not ridiculous, heartfelt emotion. And seems like Max Allegri has been letting his overflow a little bit again as well.
Yeah, the whole time as well, all I kept thinking when I was watching all of this unfold was, Simon must be hating this. So our producer Simon was saying that he really just couldn't figure out Allegri's behavior anymore. And that he was just always this man that was always cool, calm, and yeah, he'd lose his rag sometimes, but overall always behaves correctly on the sidelines. And all of a sudden, Allegri's become this guy that's like going mental and yelling at fans for booing Moise Ken and, being upset about Paredes coming on. Although, let's be honest, I get that. But either way, this behavior has not gone down well for Simon. Although I don't know, I think he's trying to change his opinion. Now, lo and behold, I went the next day and social media was filled with, that's my coach. Yes, brilliant coaching. Look at this passion. Look at this desire. And all I kept thinking is, oh my God, the guy's morphing into Conte. Like, let's get rid of him. I guess I'm a little bit like Simon. I don't like this kind of behavior. But I do want to bring this to, because there was a match between West Ham and Chelsea in which there was a really terrible call. And afterwards, they were asking Graham Potter how he feels about it, and he didn't throw a fuss about it. And they said, this is why he's never going to be a Mourinho, or he's never experience the success of a Conte or a Mourinho, because he does just not even discuss this or try to turn it into a moment where you can have a siege mentality. So to be a top coach, is that what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to go a little bit crazy on the sidelines to show passion and evoke those kind of emotions?
So I think there's actually a really interesting conversation around this, isn't there? About like how you have to handle yourself as a coach. And I want to sort of stress, because I feel like maybe I've been too mean in that Sirianni conversation. I'm really not someone who's a policer of people's emotions in football. And I think one of the sort of most sort of eye-rolly things I ever see is when people say, oh, did you see that club making such a big celebration over whatever it might be? You know, oh, they just won one game. Oh, they just finished in the top 4. Oh, you know, even with Roma in the Conference League, some sort of people going, oh, they only won the Conference League. Do you know what? People can celebrate anything they want, however they want. If it's a win, then they're enjoying it. And that's kind of the whole reason we like sports, is because sometimes you get to have those awesome days where you're enjoying it and your team is winning and it feels good.
Is that because you're an Arsenal fan and you guys celebrate everything?
Well, I mean, between recent managers that Arsenal have had, Unai Emery was not easy for me to sort of connect with, which didn't mean he couldn't be a good manager. He could have been a good manager. He has been a good manager at other clubs. I don't think he quite made it click at Arsenal. But it does, I do find it easier to connect to Arteta when he's sort of feeling it in the way that you're feeling it as a fan. Now, whether or not that makes him a better manager, that's a different question. I don't know. Like that's up to the players to tell you whether or not they respond more or less to someone who's like that. But the fact that he's passionate and bounces on the sideline and wants to sort of run up and down and shout a lot. I find that personally as a fan, not a thing that I'm going to object to. But I think I probably would have, my feeling would be that the same as some fans will connect to that and some fans won't, you probably have to make sure you've got a group of players that will respond to that and some won't. And I think, yeah, we could talk about Ancelotti, who's that epitome of sort of calmness and never loses his cool. And I think that seems to play so well when you put him in context like Real Madrid and it's a group of ridiculously elite players. And he's just sort of able to, by staying calm, just remind them that, look, we've got this, guys. You're all good enough. We don't need to panic in situations. But perhaps then when he went to a club like Everton, it wasn't the right mix. And you did need to have someone who could be a bit more urgent for a team that didn't have that natural sort of talent advantage that it had over other teams. So I guess maybe there's some horses for courses in there as well.
I agree with that, because I still think sporting director Monchi is one of the best sporting directors. But being one for Sevilla, Simon is about to fall on the floor after that comment. Being in charge of somebody like Sevilla is a big team, by the way. I just want to make that clear. Yeah. But sort of maybe taking the step up with the Roma side that was really trying to push at the time, you know, and be recognized as one of the big boys. It's kind of different to be in charge of a team that's trying to do well and perhaps win the Europa League and, you know, acknowledging the fact that they'll never be in a Barcelona or a Real Madrid. And it's different to be in charge of a club like, that's a bigger club. Let's say if you asked me, you know, would you want him at Juventus or would you want him at Milan or Inter? No, because it's a very different type of job. Because you're no longer identifying great talents that could be something. Like somebody who's in charge of Atalanta is charged with finding great talent, like buying a Rasmus Højlund from Copenhagen, or looking at Dan Möller-Lukman and seeing if you can, you know, benefit from the teachings of Gasperini and turn these guys into the brilliant players that they are and then sell them for more. It's a very different skill in unearthing great talent to knowing which player makes a great dressing room. The psychology required, though, you know, it becomes more than just finding great talent. It's about, do they have the mentality required? Can they be a hindrance or a brilliant thing for them, for the dressing room? So on and so forth. So I think that you're right. It's different horses for different courses. But personally, for me, as somebody who's always supported a team that's considered a big club, I like a snobby attitude. I don't want someone who's screaming, because I feel like you need to act like you've been there. And the one thing that everyone always remembers from Sir Alex Ferguson is, come on, guys, it's Tottenham. That's his most famous quote. It's like, that's the best way. Like, it's not, oh my God, you need to work. It's none of this madness, because it's like, we're Manchester United, recognize who we are, recognize who they are. And that's all I need to say. And I like that kind of speech for me is so arrogant and it's disgusting if it's on a human level, but as a football level, I love it in every way, shape or form. Does that make sense? Like, I would hate it if my coach was going crazy and like yelling, because I'm just like, dude, like this, you know, we're not like, I don't know, we're not some, you know, and you can tell like about the even teams fans who come at you when you sort of get upset or say something about their teams. The ones who are like a Manchester United who are used to winning all their lives are just like, oh, whatever. You know, but there's others that will just start nitpicking everything. Like,
so what I'm hearing is you don't like this new era of Allegri, who is not being snobby and is shouting and screaming.
Yeah, but right now his team is trying to avoid relegation. So I guess that is kind of where he is at the moment. So maybe he's just doing, look, it's a period of time where you need to unite and he's trying to get a reaction. Yeah, I don't love it, but maybe that's what is required right now.
Can I just say, I want to see the fight. If he's calling a fan down from the stands.
What, you don't think he's going to win?
I would love to see if it actually happened. He jumped over the fence and actually took on Allegri. What would he really do? It would probably last all of about 5 seconds, but I think it would be hilarious for that 5 seconds.
Yeah, that is true, actually. Maybe we should ask him to do that next time.
Just want to stress the Serie podcast does not encourage fans to come and jump over.
Oh, God, yeah, that's true.
That's not a thing we're encouraging, and don't do that. And we will accept no liability in that situation. But Mina, do you know, I thought it was fun that Allegri finally put Di Maria, Vlahovic and Chiesa on the pitch at the same time. I don't have much more that I feel like I particularly need to say about this game, but I was wondering how you feel right now about the other side of this. Vincenzo Italiano.
Yeah.
It's not actually going great for him at the moment. He's a manager who I know we've both sort of praised in the past, but Fiorentina are 14th right now. I think they've got 1 point from the last 5 games. Is he losing the grip on this situation?
No, it's very difficult to say this because it's really bothering me because the team is actually playing really well. And Jovic actually had a couple of really good chances towards the end. In general, they're still a very good team to watch on the pitch and they create good opportunities, but unfortunately they just don't have the players right now that convert those opportunities into real goals. Whether it's Icone or Cabral or Jovic, which we've seen has been a little bit disastrous, you know, there's nobody there that you can genuinely depend on. And it's a shame that they lost Vlahovic because Vlahovic in that team right now is a team that's pushing for European places. But without a striker that can really convert right now, they're just a side that's kind of, unfortunately, not making the most and starting to really find themselves in terrible situations. Actually, somebody did ask us about, let me just, Simon just sent that to us. But basically, Anthony Kennedy was saying that he's loving his Tifosi status. And can you please walk us through why the ref went to the screen to disallow Laviola's leveler? Was it not a pure line decision? Thank you. So obviously technology dominated this game because we only knew that Rabiot scored after the watch signaled for the referee, and Juventus had scored a goal. Vlahovic then scores another one, and that's ruled offside by a fraction, which is because of the semi-automatic offside that they've got powered. Now, when it came to Castrovilli's goal cancelled, it was apparently to do with the fact that Ranieri and where he was on the pitch brought down Locatelli, who inadvertently, because he was brought down, delivered an assist to Castrovilli, who then scores the goal. So the referee was then called over to judge whether or not he thought Ranieri had interfered enough with play to make it an offside ruling. So that's why the decision was up to him. And he decided that he did and decided to call it off. Allegri at the end just said that, you know, he just wants goals like that to be ruled to give the benefit of the doubt to the striker. I agree. I think right now there should be something about daylight being the difference maker between an offside goal or not, rather than just, you know, whether or not you have longer hair or an armpit here or there. It's just ridiculous at this point, you know?
Yeah. I'm going to defer to you on this one, Mina, because it's one of those incidents I feel like being at Super Bowl, you would have seen much more than I did. So, but I agree with your sentiment on sometimes you just sort of look at the margins of these offside calls and you think, come on, like we really, but I suppose you have to draw a line somewhere and it's where it's drawn right now is there. I think we move on from this game because I think the game of the weekend was.
Become a member at patreon.com/Serie A Chronicles for regular bonus episodes and content.
Sports Social Podcast Network.